Hello everybody, my name is Khaled Siddiqui, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to change the front panel on a ClearCom HME DX210 Intercom. ClearCom HME DX210 Intercom. Now, usually when these units are being shipped, this happens. Let me show you what happens and why you need to change the front panel. So as you can see right here, this panel is coming off. The screws have broken from inside, and this side is also bent. As you can see, this side is so bent that you could actually see the wires. See, all the screws came off, and we need to replace it. You can get the replacements from HME, and this is how they come, the replacement units. And by looking at it, you would think this is a piece of cake to replace. It's just a walk in the park. But my friend, this is not a piece of cake to replace. There are a lot of screws involved, a lot of wires involved, a lot of disconnection and unplugging cables involved. So I would say it's a walk in a dry desert, not a walk in the park. All right. So first we need to open all the screws on the top and 3 screws on the sides on each side. We need the following tools. We need a Phillips screwdriver, medium Phillips screwdriver. We need a wrench head driver and 1/4 of an inch. This is not metric. I usually use metric tools, but I didn't have one. So 1/4 of an inch, and this is 1/2 inch. So these are the 3 tools that you need. 1/2 inch. You need 1/4 inch and these 3 things. You also would probably need an extension. Why you need an extension? Because it's when you're opening the screws with this, you have to reach it from an angle, and you have to be a little bit, you should have a little bit of flexibility. That's the reason an extension will come in handy, like that. Okay, all right, let's get started. So in the beginning we will be opening the top screws. Okay, so we will put the screwdriver. So we will open all 6 screws on the top. And the other one. And this one. This one. And let's take this guy out. This one right here. As you can see, we took out all the screws on the top. 1 screw was missing, by the way. That's the reason why I only have 5 and not 6 screws. And let's put these aside. Put the screws aside, and now we have screws on the sides which we need to open. So let's open from this side. Make sure not to lose these screws, because they're specialty screws. You can't find these screws. Okay, that was you don't want the tip of the screwdriver to slip over the screw, because it will damage the screw head. It will. So this was something that you need to watch out for, not to do. I made a mistake that I didn't push the tip deep. I mean, you have to push it like pretty good so that doesn't happen, and I didn't do that. Now we have these 3 screws to open. So this time I'm pushing this very much with force so it doesn't skip. Okay. So this is, 12 screws that you need to remove. 6 on the top, 3 on this side, 3 on that side. Once you have taken all the 12 screws out, you would think that you're out of the woods. Well, in fact, you just walked into the deepest section of the woods. And voila, that's what the deepest section is. And right here, you have no business with the main board or any of these screws. If you ever have to change the wireless card, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plugs to unplug, and then this comes up. There's another socket here, right there, to replace the wireless card. We don't need to replace the wireless card, so we leave it alone. But I just thought on the side note to teach you how to replace the wireless card. And usually these wireless cards go bad too, and it doesn't register, or you have static radio noise and whatnot. Now we have to open the screws, the cables that go to the front panel. So what are those cables? This comes out right here. This guy needs to come out. Let me use now. Although you could use it with you could pull it with your hand, but to be on the safe side, I'm going to use this so I don't damage it. These two. This must come out. And believe it or not, this guy needs to come out. This guy needs to come out. These you could take out, but you don't necessarily have to, because you will fold the other board on this direction. So yeah, and they're very hard to put back together. Sometimes when you try to put these, slide these back in the socket, you damage the pins. So I leave them alone. I'm not gonna mess with those. And now what I need to do, I need to open. Let me go to the top camera. First, what I need to do is I need to make sure all of these are in minimum position. Because all of these will fall. And then if they're not in the minimum position, I don't know what was where, in what position. And I could be putting them back in the wrong position. So now everything is minimum, everything is minimum. Even this guy, put it in the minimum position. Minimum. Now we are ready to remove the panel, this panel right here, the broken one. To open this panel, let me turn this around and show you. We have to open these nuts. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't see it, but it's 3, 4, and 5 and 6. But to get to the 3 and 4, we have to remove these screws. So let's get started and start removing screws. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. Once again, let me show it with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's get on this and start removing some screws. None of these screws are magnetic, so you have to manually remove them. Let me go to the top camera so you can see this one. All this is from an angle, because you don't have like straight angle, so it's I'm in a little bit, it's not perpendicular to the screw, it's a little sideways, so that's why there's a higher chance of the screw tip skipping over the screw head, which is not good. Not good at all. So we are removing these 8 screws. One screw fell here and they're not magnetic, so I have to use a tweezer to get it. Now this is the time that those little black things will fall. Remember I said the little things will fall? Now I will show you what I mean by that. When I pull this, these little black knobs, they will fall. There, 2 fell. These are intact, but 2 of those fell. So I have to deal with those, get those, and put them in the minimum mode position, just like these guys are. I have to put them back in the minimum position. These 2 fell. 3 fell actually. If you look, they are stuck right here. The ones that fell off, they're actually stuck on the panel. So I'm gonna take those. Here's one. Let me put this away and take the rest. This is the second one and the third one. Now I'm going to position them in the minimum position and put them back in. Minimum. And minimum. So there they are, minimum position. Now what we need to do is you need to open this knob right here. Once you remove that knob, by the way, this was the screw that fell off, so I got it now. You use the 1/2 inch one to open it. Now you could sometimes open it with your finger, but if not, use the drill. Remember that there are 2 washers. One is a flat washer and the other one is with kind of a sharp edges, which plays as a lock washer, so the screw doesn't get loose. And the one with the sharp edges is the closest to the nut, and the flat one is the closest to the panel. This is with this. So this is basically how it is, like this. Like this. Okay? I put this aside. And now we have to open the screws of this panel itself. And this is the part where you need a little bit of wiggling, or I should say flexibility. If you have a flex shaft, it's even better, because it's not easy. This part is a little kind of difficult. Okay, so let's do this in a way so you can see it in a camera. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. See, all of these guys fell off. I should have actually removed this board. All of these fell off. I'm gonna remove it. It's not worth it. So to remove this, let me zoom in. See, this is a little difficult. So to remove this, you have little black tabs, and what you do is you pull the black tabs up like that and slide these out. Removing it is easy. The difficult part is putting it back in. There, removing is easy. All right. If I weren't recording video, to hold this in an angle so you can see, I didn't necessarily have to remove this. because I could manage to open those screws in a way without flipping this sideways. But since I'm doing it for you, so you can see, I had to remove it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nuts to remove. That's the 1/4 inch. This one is hard. Okay, so here is my problem. My problem is that on the old one, the things were broken. The studs where the screws go, they are broken. See these? They're supposed to be here, right? But they're broken. Let me show you what I mean. They're supposed to be here. So when they break, when they're broken, it's hard to fish them out of there. Let me show you. Oh, by the way, we have to take this out, and we have to take this out, put it in the new panel. This one is easy. You could do it with your hand. You don't need any special tools for that. All you have to do is press these edges, these sides. You press it down and slide it out. Or actually slide it forward. Press, slide forward, and it comes out. This guy has 2 screws, which I need to open. Let me zoom in so you could see better. The nuts will fall right and left, but you have to grab them, take them back. This little spacer is required. The screws. Okay. So this is the broken one. Now we have to remove these guys because they normally stayed attached to this guy. Normally they stay attached, but since they are broken, they're stuck in here, and I have to manually remove them. Okay, so now this is playing hard to get. Let me redo this. So it doesn't want to come out. So we have to hold this from this end. And there it is. This is a problem that you will run into when you're removing the broken one, because the new one will have these studs attached to the panel, and they're attached firmly. They don't come apart on the new ones, as you can see. This is the broken one. So now we will put the new one. Before we put the new one, let's put everything that we need to put on it. I have some screws. We have to get all the screws out. Okay. So I will set this aside. Get all my screws and nuts. Make sure everything is good. Make sure I'm not losing anything. Put this guy there. And let's zoom in. Let's see if we can get it from a different angle. Maybe this angle, yeah. And we are putting this guy back. Okay, now here's another thing. Notice there is a square like a bigger hole, how do you know which side is down and which side is up? Well, I tell you, the square little hole has to be on the top. So see, this is the top of this panel. If you look the writings, this is the top. So if this is the top, this square thingy will go on the top when you put it back. Make sure that your screw driver is not like, put it like in a 2 or 3, not two, because you will strip those, and carefully tie them. A little more. That is very good. Now we have one more item, which is this guy. And this one, you see the light, there's a little LED light that has to go on the top. So it will slide in inside the panel like this, and the LED light goes on the top, and you push it back in. See those little things, you have 2 little plastic tabs, they will be holding it tight there, like that. Okay. Now this guy right here, it doesn't go on the panel. It goes on the chassis and then through the panel. So we have to put this last, after we put the panel back into the chassis, then we will put this guy back. Okay. Let's bring the chassis. We're going to fish the wires through. These wires have to be fished through right here through the hole. Just so you can see, it's being fished through the last square hole, the last one. And the reason the middle one is for the other things, for the buttons and display and all that. Okay, so watch this. See how it seats. Now let's put those nuts. We have to put the nuts back in. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nuts. Six nuts. It's easier to put the nuts on this first. Even the nuts are not magnetic, so it's easier to tie the nuts with this, and then once they're a little bit tied in place, you can use the drill. Actually, it's maybe easier to do it with this. For the ones that are not reachable, we use the old-fashioned way. The old-fashioned way is to get like something like this, like a needle, put the tip of this to the center of the screw tab, and just spin it and let it fall spinning like this, like that. That's the old-fashioned way. Okay, now let me tell you how the hard to reach ones were put together. I'm going to demonstrate that on this panel because it's easy to see compared to the one that it's not. So what I did is I put the nut on top. 1 second. Okay, so the tabs that are hard to reach, like this tab, very hard to reach, that you can't even get your fingers in the corners, like on the edges. So here's what you do. You use a like a needle type of thing, or it can be a stick, doesn't matter. And then you go to the center. First you hold this, don't let it go, don't let it go. You go to the center of this, the center of that tab. So you put this in there. So this is the area you can't reach. You hold the nut on the top. Okay, you put it here and spin it. Try again. And if it doesn't, sometimes it goes very good. And if it doesn't go, then there you go, it went. Now, because your hands cannot reach there, you do slightly with the screwdriver. You do like this. And then once it's tight and it's not moving anywhere, you put your screwdriver away, and then you put the real electric one and move like that. This is parts that you can't reach to. Okay. Okay, so now it's the time to put back all these little knobs to the minimum position. Remember, we wanted all of them to be in the minimum position. This is a little dot. Let me zoom in so you can see. This is the little dot, and that dot has to be in the minimum position. And there it is. So now make sure that the second one matches, the line is parallel. This line is parallel with all of them, and that gives you an idea where each one goes. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more to go. And here is the last one. Okay, now we don't put this as of yet. We have to first get the cables out of the way. Let me zoom out again. You have to get the cables out of the way. Put this very gently because these will fall. They're just lightly put in place there. So you have to plug in this guy right here. That's the LED light, and these are the power switch cables, the power on off switch. Okay, so all that is good. Now this will go in a way that you have to put this up and then put this in this way so it doesn't fall. That's such a critical thing to do. Did you see how it snapped in place without anything falling? Like that. This you can do later, don't worry about that. This guy, don't worry about that. Alright, so now this is in place the way it should be, and now it's time to put the screws. And these are those screws that we have to put. I believe there were 8 screws if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Could be 12 screws, I don't know. But we'll put them. We'll put all of them one at a time. So 1, 2, we have more screws to come. These screws are not magnetic screws, so there is no point of using a magnetized screwdriver because magnet will have no effect on these screws. I don't know why ClearCom did that, but I'm sure it has to do with the radio frequency interference with electromagnetism. So they did it for best audio quality, although it creates some inconvenience during the manufacturing. But keep in mind, ClearCom is all about quality. There aren't any other sound companies that I know of that could top ClearCom when it comes to superb sound quality. Okay, so now we have to tighten those screws using the electric screwdriver. So far we just put them in place with a slight amount of pressure. Make sure the screw doesn't slide out of the screw. Make sure the screwdriver doesn't slide out of the screw head because it will damage the board. I already hit something here, but thankfully there was nothing there to be damaged. It was only ground. But if I would have hit it here, there's a lot of little printed circuit boards. So I'd be extra cautious here. Now, it's time for what? It's time for putting the this guy right here. It's time for this guy. Now, notice right here. Let me zoom in. Let me see which camera can zoom good. If you notice right here, there's a little tab. That little tab goes in the opening right there. Let me see if I can show you that. Oh man, it's hard to show. You see that little smaller circle? That's where the little tab goes. This is where the main knob goes, and that's where the little tab goes. Okay, so let's do that. Having that said, this has to go this way with the wires facing this way. First you put the flat washer, then you put the lock washer, and last you put the nut. Once you put the nut, you will use your 1-inch screwdriver Okay, that's good. Now we will put the knob, put it in the minimum position, and put the knob in the minimum position, and voila, that's in. Okay, now we have to plug in this guy right here. This guy goes here. Okay, so I opened this and reseated these because they were crooked. They were like a little bit sideways. I opened those tabs and reseated them. They were very hard to catch in camera, so I did it off camera. Now, again, let me zoom in. This is very important. This is probably the most critical part. Probably. Look. So, right here, we have these tabs. Let me illuminate these tabs. I don't have enough illumination there. You see these tabs? This is lock position. This is open position. You have to put them in open position, slide the cable, and lock them. Okay? So let's do that. Cable is slid in. It can't go anymore. And now I'm going to lock it. Now it's locked. Same here. Cable is slided in and it's locked. We have one more. So all three are in lock position now. Let me see how much zoom I could do on that thing. See that? This is the lock position. Okay. Now what do we do? Now, this is good. That's done. This is done. These we didn't even mess with. So I guess we put the cover, I believe. Nothing else is left. So we put the cover back. We want to make sure everything looks good here. All the knobs are aligned. Make sure the knobs rotate and they're all aligned. Nothing is off center or anything. And let's put the cover. The cover, if you look at the cover, one side, the front and back is not the same. So we have to see which side is the front. Hold on, let me see. So this is the wrong way. This is the right way. How can you tell? If you see there's a cut right here. See the cut there? This cut right here, this is on the back side, but the round cut right here, this round is on the front side, like this. Now first put these screws and then the side screws, because if you put the sides first they will be off alignment a little bit. So I'm gonna use the standard cheap screwdriver. I mean, this was not cheap, it's made in Germany, but yeah, not the electric one. And then I will just put the screws with this, and or maybe this one is better, has a better grip. And then I will use the electric screwdriver to tie it all the way. The side screws. This one doesn't want to go in. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Everything looks good. The unit is all put back together, and now we have to fire it up and make sure it still works, right? Okay, so I plugged it in, and let's power it up, and voila, everything looks good. Registration should bring a circle here when you register it, and let's see, the headset registered with it. That's the registration, and yeah, we're good. All right. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this was educational. Please make sure to like and subscribe.